Yeah, I don't know what happened. It said someone reported it for copyright, so I don't know. Good morning, Miguel. How are you? We'll get started in just a second. All right. So, guys, earlier this week, you guys were tasked with watching the allegory of the cave. Um, the allegory of the cave is an old story that has transcended time and really asked humanity questions upon themselves, and the way we react to stimulus and grow past that stimulus, right? The allegory of the cave shows how malleable the mind is, let's say. Did you guys all get to watch the film, the video on YouTube? I know I received some of your questions, didn't receive everyone's. Yep. For those who didn't, make sure you get that in because simple assignment, it's credit for the class, and it's going to teach you a little bit about what's next, right? You guys are working on your 5-page papers, so don't forget your rough drafts for that. Keep working hard towards that. Get your notes and citations all together. That way you can fully and successfully complete those 5 pages and have enough information that is supported to support your paper. The allegory of the cave is something that I would like us to compare to a few films. Okay. First off, the first film that I would like you guys to be able to compare it to is The Matrix. I know we have watched The Matrix before in class, but we've never watched it with this context specifically in mind, right? We did a lot of analysis on Neo and just film analysis between the main characters, Morpheus, Trinity, um, and seeing how their impact on the world and their impact on, we're going to say the storyline because I want you guys to explain it. But there are so many similarities between this allegory and the Matrix that it's almost uncanny. Okay. I want you guys to be able to watch this film. You know now the message that the allegory of the cave is trying to teach you or expose you to. And now I would like you to watch this film. Okay. When you watch this film, look for those points. There are going to be other films, all right? We are going to be studying these and seeing how we can pick out these messages from these highly successful box office films that are still trying to educate you upon old ways and old messages that have been around for over 2,000 years. Okay? So, when you guys watched the allegory of the cave, what was the message that they were trying to give to you? What do you think? What do you guys believe the message to Plato's cave is? Yes, perception is everything, right? Miguel, expand upon that. Expand upon this idea that perception is everything, right? Speak upon how that perception can be impactful to someone's life. How is it used to show this difference, this change? What else, guys? Miguel gave us perception. Anybody else want to say anything? Right. Your explanation is pretty simple, but yes. So imagine what you perceive to be real every day. This cave, these shadows. This is all you know, right? You've been here for decades. So you begin to believe that this is the world because this is all I know, right? Another way we could perceive this is imagine a child who is homeschooled their whole life and is censored from a lot of the real world during their life. They're going to have perceptions of the world that are going to be different than someone completely exposed to everyday life, right? And all of its stimulus. So imagine these individuals, this impacted person from the cave or this person in real life that we could compare, right? Imagine they just up and leave that cave. You know, at first, at first, there's going to be that shock, right? For many of us, that can be seen nowadays as like culture shock. The first time you are exposed to a new culture, trying to see what else. Maybe a religious shock, depending on your environment, how it changes. This is going to change your world. This is going to have change how you perceive your world, right? And at that point, it's either your job to adjust and grow and adapt to this perceived world's new change, because now at this point your reality changes, correct? So how do we react and grow from the stimulus, right? And then once we react and grow from the stimulus, how does this stimulus affect the rest of the individuals who have lived that similar lifestyle, right? Will they change? Will they feel afraid to change? Will they embrace this change or will they just succumb to the comfort of the way they know, right? There are so many people, even nowadays, that we can look at who are just so comfortable in what they know that they are afraid of change. Think about how many people react and how crazy they react when something about their everyday life changes. That change could be something so simple and non impactful, but to this person, in these moments, this change is huge because it's taking them out of their comfort zone, out of their norm. And how do they adjust? How do they grow? So, perception is key. Accepting change. And then another subtle hint there of applied knowledge being power, right? We hear this saying, knowledge is power, right? Knowledge is power. Knowledge can be power, right? When we think of any type of information that we take in, right? This new knowledge, this new stimulus, this new way to perceive our world, if we share this knowledge to someone, it is their opportunity and their job at that point, right? To take this information and either grow and apply this information to their reality, or they have this information, then what do they do with it? How do they make it work for them, or how does it change their world, right? At that point, it is how they apply that knowledge that gives them that power, right? That's like saying, if I knew how to code and I sat in front of a computer day in, day out and coded information, right? I could learn how to potentially build a website or build software or apps, but I don't know how. And that's information that right now I don't really want to accept, right? That's personal, right? But then we have someone like a Bill Gates who applied this knowledge, didn't go to college, but applied this knowledge that he had and totally impacted his world, right? Changed the world. And now the way we perceive the world is completely different. We have had to accept this change, right? Because now we have this world of everything. Anything can be done online, and the world is growing at an exponential rate, and you need to keep up or else you will be left behind, because our perception is changing so fast. Okay? And that applied knowledge is that power, right? That man took a simple idea, well, not that simple of an idea, but he took this idea and applied it in a way that for his time was groundbreaking. And then it has evolved and evolved and evolved, and people have been forced to grow, right? That's where we can look at, our elderly, and you see their lack of willingness to accept and learn how to use a computer, use these electronic resources. And that's why their perception of this world is so different, right? That's why we have these individuals that we call boomer, right? In meme terms, or we have millennials, right? It's because this is the way these individuals are being perceived based upon the reality that their life has been shaped upon. Your boomers are going to have grown up within a totally different level of stimulus than what the millennials or Generation Z will say, um, has experience, right? So, how do we grow, or how do we find commonality and strength from these differences? This is what's going to take us to our next film, The Matrix. Okay. I want you guys to watch this film. If you want to watch it a couple of times to truly dissect it, fine. I'm totally okay with that. Okay. I'm going to send you some information for this film, as well as the allegory of the cave. And at that point, I want you to find how the main character is truly experiencing this allegory in action. Okay? Everything from the very first moment of that film is paying homage to this allegory of the cave. We see this in other films, right? So, you guys early on were exposed to a lot of films that I find to be interesting for these specific reasons. Uh, Name one of the films we've watched where you could say this allegory of the cave could be present. Any of you guys remember any of the films that we've watched that this allegory could apply to? Yes, V for Vendetta, absolutely right. So, uh, Effie's experience changes and her perception of the world changes after the stimulus that V puts her through, right? This mental torture almost to see her world in a different way for whatever it was behind that veil, right? Good job. Um, Miguel, I believe you are talking about. Um, oh man, I'm having a brain fart right now. The Truman Show. Yeah, The Truman Show. That's a great one, right? Because his reality was shaped upon the information that he perceived to be reality, what he perceived to be true. So at this point, all these years of his life to adulthood, he is experiencing the world one way. And then you see this change come over him once he sees his reality may be manipulated or not reality, right? It's something that's staged. And once he starts to realize these differences in the information, he sees something isn't right. Why do they want me to stay here? What is here? What is this world? Right? Is my story real? Is my life real? And now that I have this knowledge, what do I do with it, right? He could have easily stayed in that dome, continued to live out his life in that show, but he genuinely chose to meet his maker, right? And in this case, meeting his maker would be leaving and seeing the director of the film. In the cave, meeting their maker would be leaving that wall of shadows. And instead of thinking of that as gods telling them stories, seeing that this is a genuine world outside of this cave. And if you were to just leave the comfort and safety of this space, you could be experiencing a whole new world, right? We could apply this to our everyday life. If we apply ourselves very hard and we work harder than what people say we can work, we could potentially change our own environment, change our lifestyle, change our way of life, change our mindset, right? If we apply this knowledge for ourselves, right? If we applied this knowledge for ourselves, what could this look like? This could look like I'm going to use examples that could apply to us, right? So when we think of Troy, right, he loves basketball. If he every day grinded and applied that knowledge, almost like a savant where they just work on honing that one craft, his reality could change because he has applied this knowledge to reshape his reality, right? I'm going to apply this basketball knowledge so that I can potentially be an elite basketball player, let's say, and this is going to be my reality. So, how does he apply that knowledge to make this new reality, this new perceived lifestyle that he would like, right? Or this would be, you know, a Yasiri or a Manny, we know you guys are talented, right? So what do you do with this? How do you take what you perceive as your knowledge and apply this to create this change in your life? The change in your life right now is going to college. So now as we grow, it's not just going to be going to college, right? It's what do I want to do with the rest of my life? How do I want to apply this knowledge to change my reality so that I can perceive a specific job or a specific career in the way that I currently perceive it, right? I have this dream of what I would like to create. How do I make this happen? How do I apply this knowledge to create this power for myself? This power is going to be, monetary comfort and success, and hopefully a sense of community as well, right? This sense of community is what really anchors us to something. Um, a lot of people will say money is great, but there are more people who leave jobs over the way a job is run or management than we would say maybe the actual job itself. So, how do you change your perception to work for you? For someone else, like, you know, me or one of the other teachers in the school, right? Our perception every day when we walk into work is we are here to inspire the minds of the next generation so that they can then apply knowledge, right? That's what we're perceiving, right? You guys sometimes perceive it differently, right? When you guys have complaints about teachers, or on the opposite side, if you really like a teacher for a specific reason, that is your perception, right? The way you perceive us is going to shape your reality, where we could have the best intentions and feel non-biased and try to stay neutral in the way we treat everyone. As soon as someone is reacted to, but based on the stimulus they provide, this creates this new perception, right? Oh, this teacher really likes me, or this teacher hates me, and I don't know why. But that's your perception. Even though it may not be true, this is the way you perceive the world. And that's how you've accepted your reality. Okay? When you accept your reality that way, this is going to change the way you react from then on out, because this is how these stimulus have affected you. Okay? The This allegory message is going to be found in so many great films, texts, songs, poems, etc. Okay? For homework, I'm going to make something available to you guys, but what I would like is for you guys to watch The Matrix. Okay? I know we watched it a couple years ago. Watch it again. All right? I like that you guys remember the Truman Show, for Vendetta. You know, The Matrix was brought up again, but there are a ton of films that we've watched that can give you a little insight into this allegory, right? We've seen Fight Club, right? We've also seen what is the film with Tom Cruise? Minority Report, right? We've seen those films. There are so many films that use this, and it's right in front of your face, that if you learn to interpret it, you can be analyzing and picking apart this film the whole time. and really understand the underlying message, right? Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio, another great film where perception is everything, right? Is he in reality or is he stuck in his dream? One of the biggest arguments since that film has come out. Did he wake up? What I want you guys to do, watch The Matrix. I'm going to give you a few films, and I would like you to watch and look out for these messages. So the first one is going to be The Matrix. I'm going to give you guys those other films that I have listed because I want to see how now this new information that I've given to you on the cave, how does this change your perception on these films? Now that you are looking with new information and new eyes, how does this change your perception of these films? Okay? So go ahead and watch that film. I will get that information to you ASAP. Syria? Yes. All right. I want you guys to focus on your papers. Some of you are very well ahead. Okay. Some of you are very well ahead and ready to go. And there are others who really need to hit the pavement and really hit the ground running. What I would like you guys to do is focus for the next few days on really working up that paper, getting your information gathered. I gave you guys MLA format, your page formatting, as well as your citation formatting and how it should look within a paragraph. I gave you that 2 classes ago. Okay. Be sure to apply that knowledge to your paper so that you can succeed. Okay. If you didn't take the notes, I'm sure there's the video still that you can go look and use to properly format your paper for the best chance of success. You guys have 1 week left to get this done. Okay? I'm going to send you this information on these films within a couple of days. That way you're not too overwhelmed with your paper. That's fine, Yasiria. We still have 1 week left on this paper, and I understand you guys still have Schatz's paper. Do your best at those assignments because those are major. Okay, get that done. I'd be very happy waiting as long as you are applying yourself to get those things done. All right. So again, I'm going to get that information to you. Info for major. All right. I will give you guys a date on that within the next 24 hours because I do know you guys are working on a lot at this time. That's totally fine. Okay. So, with your papers, we're going to transition, right? With your papers, you guys have at least 3 pages. Some of you already have 5. Okay. For those of you who are at that 5-page limit, what can you do to take maybe filler information and provide those key facts that are going to make your paper more impactful and a harder hitter for your reader, right? Where can you supplement opinion and support with facts? When you are looking up your topics, I want you to find strong resources, okay? If a lot of your paper is coming from the I standpoint, I believe or I think this, you are giving us opinion, okay? Make sure you are coming from a place of fact. The so and so article states that this occurred. Miguel, for your paper, the Washington Post believes that the film Godfather transcended film and time when Marlon Brando took over the role of this mafia don. And gave us a new introspective to the mobster lifestyle. That's just off the top of my head. I don't know if that actually exists, but being able to get those factual resources to support your story or your speech. Manny, there's a ton of information out there that's factual as to why PlayStation could be better than Xbox, right? There's facts. You can have your opinion, but there are actual facts and numbers and information that you can use to concretely support your situation or your stance on your paper and truly succeed. Yasiria, for you, there's tons of information. You took and chose a great topic to speak on from a fact standpoint. Ivan, right? There's so much information available on how culture, time, experience has really changed music, specifically African American music, and how has that happened in time? That's a great way for you to supplement that information. Look for these facts, okay? If you are coming the day of your speech with a paper that is mostly opinionated, you may not be as successful as one of your peers who has looked up facts, right? When you are giving us opinion, you have to hope that whoever you are giving this speech to or writing this paper for has the same opinion as you. And that can be tough, right? So, what we want to do is remove that margin of error, remove that possibility for misinterpretation or misinformation, and give them facts. If they don't like something, they don't like the facts, not my opinion on these facts, but they don't like the base information that is provided, and that's on them. Okay? Come from a place of factual knowledge, factual support. For anyone who had any comments on their paper that maybe you need a little bit of support with, feel free to reach out to me. For those who felt that their paper was really strong and they maybe need some support that they don't know how to look out for, reach out to me and I can help you specifically find sources or resources to help you along your way. How many of you at this time feel confident enough to get this 2-page extra on your paper in by next week? That's good. We've been working on this enough that you should feel confident in your ability to get this done. The first 3 pages, that's the tougher part. The 2 pages, once you already have your framework built, that is going to be much easier because now you need to just find where can I strengthen this information that I already have. I'm glad. I see a lot of confidence in that chat right now. Keep that confidence. Allow that confidence to carry you to success with your paper. Okay? This 4th marking period is going to start out with you writing, but I assure you that after we get through this writing assignment, your massive speech, it's going to be a totally different time. You guys are seniors. You guys already expected, once 4th marking period comes, it's going to be a different lifestyle for you guys, right? I would still like to carry that over for you and to give you that little bit of difference since you've grinded and worked so hard your whole high school career and you're about to transition to the collegiate landscape, right? I want to do that for you guys. So once we get through this paper, once we get through these smaller assignments, we're going to do things that are going to more inspire your mind than be something that is a major grade, right? I want you guys to be able to see and view your world through a lens that not only makes you feel confident that you can grow in yourself on your transition to college, but also allows you to perceive your world differently since you are coming from your reality, right? Your reality is what you make of it. You can either succumb to the stimulus and the information that it is given to you, or you can grow past it and say, this information is not enough information for me, right? I want my life to be X, Y, and Z. If I can find ways to stimulate that confidence or that belief in yourself, that growth through film, through short stories, through music, I would love to do that. All right. So if by mid May we can get this information done, your last 2 weeks of school should be smooth sailing. Okay. I want you guys to really apply yourself during this time so that you can have that ease of the end of your high school career. Okay. If you guys are not all working hard to get to this grade, we're going to need to do more work to make sure that you guys all achieve that success before the end. So if you can keep that confidence moving and apply that confidence, apply this knowledge, we'll be doing great within the next couple weeks and you guys can finally relax. I know you guys have been working really hard on your papers and I want to make sure that because you've worked hard, you can potentially relax for once. There's 2 more minutes left in class before you guys have to transition and get ready for your next class. Is there any questions for the cave or for your paper? Are there any questions that any of you have that I can address right now in this moment to help you with either of those things? For those who didn't do the allegory of the cave assignment, dive into it as soon as you can. We've talked about it in class a bit. Use this new information that maybe if you were scared of approaching that assignment, you could now dive in and apply it successfully. Any questions about any of your work, any of your assignments? Okay. All right, Ivan. Anybody else? All right. All right, guys. If you end up having any questions at all, feel free to reach out. Feel free to ask. And best of luck. You guys are seniors. You are just weeks away from potentially being freshmen in college or adults working out there in the real world. Is there an excavated date? Are we digging up the last 2 pages? Exact date. Yes. So if you watch the video um, from a couple classes ago, your papers are due by May 1st. Okay? May 1st is next Friday. Okay? Next Friday, you should have your rough draft in. Okay? If you don't have your 5-page rough draft in by that point, you're falling behind the 8 ball. All right? May 1st, 5-1. Any other questions? If I could have everyone comment their name in the chat, that way I can take it for attendance. And after you do that, You guys are good to go. And have a great rest of your day. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for trying hard to get your work done. And I really wish you all the best. I know this transition time with the quarantine is different for all of you guys, but I hope you guys are all making the best of it. And if you guys need anything, if you even just need to talk, just reach out. You guys are always being thought of, you're cared about, and I'm just wishing you guys all the best. I miss seeing you guys all because when I see you guys, it allows me the opportunity to really check in on you guys and see how you're doing. And yeah, guys, I really just hope you're doing really well. I'm sorry that all this stuff came up, and there's differences now with like prom, no paintball trip, no in class experiences, not really being able to see your peers, and have those opportunities to have those regular situations that you have, but I hope you guys are all making the best of it. And I hope that you're there for each other, supporting each other in some way, be it on Xbox or PlayStation, laughing or anything. But I'm very thankful for your presence, and I'm always looking out for you guys. I hope you guys are doing okay, and talk to you later. Have a great weekend.